you would bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, Creator, Architect, we thank you for the strength and the mindfulness to gather together tonight to conduct the business of the community, to witness the business of the community to be conducted. We ask your presence in this room tonight. We ask you to touch each heart, that we will maintain order, that things will be done for purpose and for the citizens of this community. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all so much. I will now move on to agenda item 3, additions and deletions. Alderman Palacios.
Make a motion to remove closed session. We need closed session. I withdraw my request. Got excited there for a second.
Okay.
That'll be it, Mayor.
All right. If there are no additions or deletions, I'll move. Entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Alderwoman Cooper.
I'll make the motion that we approve the agenda.
Alderman Palacios.
Second.
All right. The agenda is now approved. Approval of consent items. I'll entertain a motion to approve the draft minutes of March 27, 2023 work session. Mayor Pro Tem.
I make a motion to approve for approval of consent items for draft minutes March 27, 2023 work session meeting.
Alderwoman Cooper.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That is unanimous. We will now move on to public comments. Who was public on?
Anyone wants to rezoning on? You might want to just tell them.
Yeah. Okay, if I call your name and you are here to speak for the rezoning case, then just let me know. We've got some who signed up for public comments and. Okay, oh, thank you. Well, I would like to invite Leslie and Michael, Fit for Life, to the podium. These are some of our newer business owners here in Spring Lake.
Good evening.
Please state your name and you can state your business location for the record.
My name is Leslie and I'm the GM of Fit for Life Spring Lake. This is Michael.
My name is Michael Dibb and I'm the sales manager of Fit for Life Spring Lake, located at 650 Shell Drive, Spring Lake, North Carolina.
And we're just reaching out to let the town of Spring Lake know and the local community know that we're here. We've just actually relocated about a year ago to a new state-of-the-art facility, and we offer 24/7 access to all of our gyms, free group fitness, kids zone, 2 free personal training sessions. We have a big military community. Our gym specifically is special because we're just a local gym. We've had a lot of long-time local members at our gym, and we take pride in that. We offer military discounts, family discounts, state and government options as well. One thing we're really working at is putting together a corporate wellness program for the employees of the town of Spring Lake. And we're just asking if we could meet with each department to just kind of gauge some interest as to if they would be interested in what they're looking for in a gym, and then how we can fit their needs.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Did you have anything? Oh.
No, I have nothing. Thank you, Mayor.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for coming. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
He said they were the only ones. The rest are.
No, I don't think so.
Jerry, is Jerry in here? I didn't even see Jerry. Okay, Jerry Watkins, he's not outside? Okay, well, we're going to keep. Ms. Sutherland, are you for public comments or for the public hearing?
Public comment.
Okay, please come, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, board and citizens of this great town of Spring Lake. Happy birthday to the great town of Spring Lake.
Yes.
As 18 years old, moved here in the town of Spring Lake, military, invested in the town, purchased property in this great town of Spring Lake. Also, I want to thank the citizens that stayed here, that purchased property, that have invested their time and have worked in this great town of Spring Lake. I am so happy to be a citizen of this great town of Spring Lake, seeing my neighbors at Walmart, seeing them as I walk, as I see them cleaning up in the areas that sometimes that you don't get to see. But anyway, I want to thank them for that as well. I came to the town of Spring Lake on last week to conduct some business in the water department. And as you so state, Mayor, that we want to thank our employees for the work that they do in this great town of Spring Lake. In the water department, I want to thank Miss Renee and the ladies that work there. When I walked up, all of them was down typing. Everybody was so busy. And I said, hello, ladies. And they said, oh, hi, Miss Sutherland. But anyway, they were working so diligently, working hard, very professional, and normally answering the phones when I can't get anybody else. I want to thank them for that as well. On your agenda tonight, I'm trying to read this. One of the members said I need a larger device, and that is correct. Ordinance 2023, from my remembrance of reading this and went over the whole ordinance, that's the sidewalk and street ordinance. Do you have it in front of you? It should be on D that I'll be discussing. That is with private property, sidewalks, talking about large vehicles, trailers, and private property. If you continue to read that ordinance 2023-1D on your agenda, it also states that if those, I guess you're going to be voting on that tonight, and maybe I'll get more information, but when you vote on it, clarification for the citizens, because it's also stating about private property, not to utilize it to work on your vehicles. So that needs to be some clarification if that's to be changed, as well as it said you can unload and pick up. And then also when I was reading it, the police department will be enforcing that ordinance. It will be $50 a day if the vehicles are being worked on in private property. And for instance, are you talking about the private property of, it says the easements, the different right-of-ways, and that I understand. But private properties of people's homes need to be, if you can elaborate on that a little bit so we can understand that. But they're going to be charging and enforcing it. It's $50 a day, if you've read that the citizen will be charged. Thank you for your job done, and happy birthday to this great town of Spring Lake.
Thank you so much. Okay, and the rest are for. Okay, so we will now move on to agenda item 7, presentations. So as Ms. Sutherland stated, yesterday Spring Lake celebrated its 72nd birthday. And so I would like to invite our resident historian to the podium to share a few words about the history of our great town. Ms. Jamie McLaughlin.
Hello, and you're right. Happy birthday to Spring Lake. We are going up on 75 years, and if you have not already, let's start making plans for the 75th anniversary, because we did have a pretty large 50th anniversary where we recognized charter citizens. We started the Spring Fling. It was a really big celebration. Just to give you I guess an overview of Spring Lake, I think a lot of you know it already, but our town was incorporated in 1951. We had a small group of business owners. You know, really the town grew started, you know, over around 1860 when they built the railroad out here, and when Camp Bragg, before Fort Bragg, before Fort Liberty, that's when our town really started to grow. We had a Main Street being the main thoroughfare at incorporation. Our post office was declared the center of town. And a lot of our post-World War II housing is what you see in some of these older pockets of Spring Lake, from 3rd to Grog, from Main Street, and everywhere towards the spring fed pond. That Spring Lake that we have over there is how Spring Lake got its name. There's actually a couple of different theories of how Spring Lake got its name, but that was one of the major ones, is that we had a spring-fed lake that was right off of Main Street. Few of you might remember, and I say you probably remember, when we came into Spring Lake and there was a huge bridge with a railroad underneath it, over here. That's now all filled in. And we really saw a large, I think we saw like our first bank and our first parts of commerce coming in the 1960s, but our economy really prospered in the 1980s and the 1990s, and a lot of what you see on Bragg Boulevard and beyond is a result of that. And then I can answer any questions. Didn't really have anything prepared, but anyway, but I can talk about Spring Lake. So.
Awesome. Well, one, thank you for your accurate record keeping of the town and your passion to make sure that our story continues to be told. We know that you have a personal connection to the roots and the founding of this community, and so we appreciate you and your continued commitment to make sure that our records are kept and our story is continuing to be told. So I will pass it off to Alderwoman Cooper for a few questions.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, again, thank you from me as well. I've been asked this question a couple of times. Do you happen to know who the Ruth is from Ruth Street?
You know, I feel like Mr. Pate addressed that. We have two books that were published for Spring Lake. The first one was Images of America through Arcadia Publishing, which was a photographic history book.
Just pulling that up.
Oh, what?
What's this one here?
Right, so that Mr. Pate and I wrote that together back in 2006, I believe, or 2007, and the other one was Passion Project of Mr. Pate. Howard Pate was our first postmaster. He was also on our Chamber of Commerce was created in 1962, and he was also one of the first board members for the chamber. But he wrote the brief history of Spring Lake, and I believe that is in there, but if not, I can look that up. I don't know what to write offhand.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been asked a couple of times, and I'm like, I have no clue. So if you could.
And a lot of the streets in Spring Lake were named after residents. So.
Okay. That's interesting. We're gonna find that out.
Yeah.
We're gonna dig out and figure out, who's the Miss Ruth for Ruth Street.
And we definitely want to have a big shebang for
The 75th.
Absolutely.
And it starts planning now. I mean, when we did the 50th anniversary, we spent a good 2 or 3 years on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we welcome community suggestions for the 75th. We want to make sure that we are, paying homage to our forefathers here in Spring Lake, the pioneers that developed this community. And it's pretty shocking to know that, so much development. One, Spring Lake is only 72 years old. Hope Mills was founded in the 1800s. We're 1951, and look at how much development has happened in such a short time. Just imagine where we can be 20 years from now if we stay committed to the growth and development and prosperity of our community. So I'm super excited about this. And I do want to make sure that, she has a few pictures. Oh, and you may be able to elaborate on these pictures because I believe she took them directly from, sorry to put you on
No,
the
no, no.
spot, from your book. So if we can pull those images up, guys, I'm excited about Spring Lake, and I really think when you honor something and you're proud of your culture, your heritage, the history, that we should share this, and our citizens should know, about the history of our community. It provides a sense of ownership, a sense of connection. So I'm excited about these pictures that you guys have put together in this book. And again, the book is available on Amazon for purchase. I don't know.
Walgreens too.
Oh, there it is. So I don't think you'll be able to find this one anywhere, but you can look for them. And we do have one other project that I want to speak about briefly as well.
So most of you know First Presbyterian on Spring Avenue. That first picture was before Lillian Black Elementary School. Well, now they closed it, which was horrible, but it was actually Spring Lake Elementary. So that first picture, like 4 pictures ago, were a lot of the children that were in 1951. But the ones that are after Spring Lake Presbyterian, or First Presbyterian now, used to face a different way. That was before the main chapel, so that is a different way that it was faced. And the Spring Lake Town Hall used to be, it's now behind where Sip and Paint and the Beatitude House. There was a small building. That was our first town hall. It's now gone. And then town hall moved over to where the police annex is. And that was actually our fire department, our town hall, our police department in that building. And then when I was little, that was our library. So I would go from, on Main Street, we had a hardware store, a sundry store, some barber shops, a V-Point grocery store. My grandparents had Howard's Variety Store, which was, I always say that's kind of like the Walmart before the Walmart. That's where you could get your clothes and fabric, shoes, pots and pans, toys, and what else did we have on Main Street? Quite a bit. And then you could just walk to the library. So, yeah, right. So that was kind of our definitely just our main area for commerce was on Main Street. These are all First Baptist, First Presbyterian, First Baptist. So we had our town was really only 3 square miles at that point. So we were not looking at a lot. Oh, you can look at that. So that's Mr. Page. Okay, and you work at Howard Hall. Howard Hall lived where Skyline Florist is. You can see the H on the
The top of the
house. So this is again Main Street. This is where, if you're looking, so again, just tons of commerce. The main thoroughfare before Bragg Boulevard kind of shot through. But now we have a super highway. So, and that, okay. And then if you look at the beginning of the top of the book, they called that, or the cover of the book, they called that the Big 8. That's 8 women who, and that is in front of Spring Lake Elementary School, where they used to have a May Fair, or May Day Maypole dance.
Awesome.
Yeah, for the few pictures, but.
Well, if there's any other questions from the board? Thank you so very much. Again, please go Walgreens, Sam's Club, and Amazon to purchase this book. We have one other person that I want to briefly bring up to talk about the history of Spring Lake. Minister Clyde, if you could come. And she's going to briefly talk about the latest addition to the history findings in Spring Lake This book is it was released this year.
About 2-3 weeks ago.
So brand new book. I'll let you guys see. You gotta give it back though. Ms. Clyde.
The exact title I can't remember, but it's the spirit. It's the spirit of the book that is so important. Before there was an HB 791, there were generations of entrepreneurs, builders, families who worked the land and created the economy that made Spring Lake possible. This book records the histories of the African American experience that was laid down as part of that foundation. Of the families who were business owners, farmers, creators, makers, hairdressers, the enslaved who built the old plank road, who drew the tar out of the trees that made the economy, that made Spring Lake possible. We have 2 individuals on our board who come from these foundations. Alderwoman Thompson and Alderwoman Cooper come out of the strength and the talent and the perseverance that brought us to where we are today. And over the past 72 years, I'm not even sure how many stories are in that book, but I do know that Ms. Amy Jenkins has been collecting those stories since the 1980s. In 2001, she and the elders of the community incorporated Sandhills Family Heritage Association. And from the association, they've been able to collect the stories, the oral histories, the pictures, the names, the products, the services. And this book is probably the first of, and there will probably be at least one more that enumerates the histories. And if y'all have any questions, I hope I did the book justice because it's fantastic.
Can you read the cover of that book for me, Alderman Palacios?
Manchester, the African American Experience.
And this book is also available on the Sandhills Family Heritage Association website or through Miss Ami directly, but the best way to get it immediately is through the Sandhills Family Heritage Association website. So I wanted to make sure that we share, and thank you so much, Ms. Clyde. Was there any other questions from the board? Thank you so much. But I wanted to make sure that we made these resources available to the community. We don't want you to say you don't know about Spring Lake. Spring Lake has a very, very rich culture and a story to tell. And we are now on the cusp of telling a new story, the new Spring Lake way. And we're going to do that by paying homage to our predecessors. So again, thank you, Ms. Clyde. Thank you so much, Ms. McLaughlin, for sharing a bit of history. And I really hope you guys learned something and enjoyed that. The Sandhills Family Heritage Association did leave a few brochures documenting the things that are available in the community should you want to know more about the Sandhills African American Tours and the Sandhills Family Heritage Association. So I'll have these made available. There's only a few copies, so if you want to take a picture of them, or again, visit the website for more information. All right, now we will move on to agenda item 7B, air monitoring and air quality ambassadors. Ms. Bruce from Sustainable Sand Hills. Where is she? Is she on Zoom? Okay, well, she is not here, so we are going to keep moving to agenda item 7C. Yay, one of my favorites. The Hope Course, Mr. Marvin Price, come on up. He's the Strategic Director for Community Initiatives to tell us about the Hope Project that we got off the ground. Yay! So excited.
Click it later.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you for having us out here, or having me out here, along with my colleague, Ms. Tiffany Lassane, who's in a brace right now. But she's our coordinator for career development. She puts together all of our job fairs and works directly with all the employers that we have relationships and partnerships with. And again, thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about Hope, not only to you, but also our residents here of Spring Lake. I learned a lot just in a short period of time about the history of Spring Lake. And it actually gives me, it makes me really even more excited because just knowing the history and knowing the direction that you're moving into, I think Hope is going to be an integral part of the growth and development here in Spring Lake. So let's see. There we go. Oh, here we go. So of course, welcome. Again, I'm Marvin Price. I'm the Director of Strategic Community Initiatives at FTCC, along with the responsibility of running our Adult Learning Center, which is housed in our Student Center, the center of campus of FTCC. So what is HOPE? Right? So HOPE is an acronym that simply stands for Hope, Opportunity, Prosperity Through Education. This was brought about a couple of years ago. Dr. King was still our president, and we wanted to address, have an opportunity to address the need for skilled individuals moving into the workforce, specifically the trade skills in the areas of welding, forklift, in other spaces, carpentry, HVAC, plumbing, and the sort. But we wanted to provide an opportunity for individuals to remove the barriers of finances, the barriers of, and some underlying areas as well that would include addressing food insecurities, addressing clothing, addressing transportation, and things of that nature. So we are in partnership with Cumberland County, the commissioners, to include NC Works. They're one of our major partners here that allows us the opportunity to work with not just the local inner city employers, but also on the outskirts of Cumberland County. So here, what you're looking at, it says work-based learning. These are areas in which we'll go through the slides. For work-based learning, fostering partnerships, of course, and our part-time instructor opportunities. We're always looking for instructors. So I'm going to be pitching that as well. Tiffany's probably laughing. She's probably laughing, right? Is Tiffany laughing right now? This is like Marvin, you always talking about, yes, I'm going to pitch for.
Absolutely.
Jobs, right? So again, this is what HOPE is all about. HOPE, Opportunity, Prosperity Through Education, is their acronym. And that's simply what it means. Providing opportunities for individuals through education on an educational pathway to lead to better skills, better jobs, and better pay. If you would go to our website, the FTCC website, you would actually see that on our landing page. Better skills, better jobs, better pay. That is our mantra. That is our focus here at FTCC. So these are some of the examples of some of the HOPE courses that have already taken place, and we'd like to bring some of these courses here to Spring Lake. We're looking at carpentry, the wood frame and construction, the plumbing, property maintenance, electrical, HVAC, welding, and this is just a few of the classes that we would like to bring here to Spring Lake. Now, how do we do that? That's probably a question, right? So it's data informed. So we ask questions of employers, we ask questions of job seekers. What are you looking for? What kind of skills are you expecting for individuals to have, and what type of competencies do they need as well? So we actually work with our content makers, who are the department chairs and deans. We bring them to the table. We actually had a few meetings already with Mayor Anthony and talked about just the type of classes that will benefit most of the residents here in Spring Lake. But we want to expand this. We want to expand it just beyond trades and the trades courses. We're looking at computer skill development. We're looking at in other areas, hospitality as well. Currently, we have a class that is called this Child Nutrition Assistance course in partnership with Cumberland County Schools that is a pathway for students to actually work, get employed with the Cumberland County school system in their food service department. We also have a component within that. They have credentials, and these credentials are OSHA 10 through OSHA 30, EPA refrigerant. These are some of the courses that are embedded, some of the credentials embedded in the courses that we develop for these students. CPO, Certified Food Operator, ServSafe is that primary certification that these students need. And again, this is at no cost to the student. We remove that barrier of payment, tuition, and resources. We cover the cost of uniforms. If they need transportation, we assist them in that area as well. And we also have a component of case management that assists these students, especially those students who have barriers that takes a little more time to help them with. And we help them not only within the school, but also with other stakeholders in the community as well. So we have that high touch component that actually is a great benefit for the student success and the employers as well. So the class layout looks like all the whole classes are about 95 hours and above. It meets the threshold for any scholarship that we offer a student at FTCC, meaning that any class above those hours qualify for a scholarship. Again, to remove the barriers of finances for those students. It's a fast track program. The courses are generally 6 to 9 weeks. We want the students to get trained and equipped to move into the job force faster, but also allow the employers to have a skilled trained individual to move into their workspace and hit the ground running, so to speak. Now, within that space, we actually work with employers where the employers come to our site and meet with the students, interview the students, and provide an opportunity for the students to have an experience, a real world experience with those types of individuals, HR individuals. Also, HR is a major component of our program as well. They learn the skills of interviewing, asking questions, resume building, personal development as well. Those things are embedded in all of our HOPE classes as well. So I wanted to highlight some of the benefits, not only for the students, but also for the employers. So as you can see, the benefits for the students is the cost of living stipend. We cover the cost of $20 an hour for 60 hours for that student to work actually on the job site for any employer who's willing to bring them on board through our work with student component. Also, and paid on-the-job training for up to 6 months, meaning that employers, y'all look around, any employers in here? So we want to also help the employers as well. So we actually will pay up to 50% of that of the hourly rate that that an employer will pay that student for up to 6 months. So we want to buffer the cost for the employer as long as they're working with that student. We'll also pay a stipend to the employer, or make that really clear. We also pay a stipend to the employer for allowing a mentor or cover the cost for that mentor who's on site working with that student as well. So we want to ensure that time, how can I say, time won't be lost. As a young person who's learning the trade, that person being pulled from that site or wherever they're working, we know that time is money. So we want to ensure that the employers are aware that we'll pay that employer a stipend as they allow that person to train our individuals as well. Again, the accelerated training aligned with the employer needs. We want to hear from the employers. We need to hear from the employers. We want to ensure that that what we're creating is up to date, and we want to ensure that the students are getting the skills and also the knowledge required to help them not only right now but also in the future. We want them to always be progressive in their learning. So we need to hear from the employees as well. Did I miss anything? Let me ask Tiffany. She's my over here. So I think I'll talk a little bit about the work-based learning component. So again, our work-based learning is designed around the employer's needs. So again, we have employees who come onto our job site, also enter our classrooms, talk to the students to find out what they're learning. The employers also have an opportunity to tour our campus and our labs where the students are actually getting the hands-on experience. So all of our students meet that requirement of hands-on, at least 40 hours in each trade of hands-on experience. So they get over that initial fear of going to a job site. And I'm laughing because I'm thinking of a student who was afraid of fire at one point. And they were, and they took up, we have welding in our class. And so, needless to say, that student got over that fear, and because they understood the money they can make with that, with that skill, and got over that fear pretty quickly, and did obtain employment fairly quickly as well. So, so students have at least 48 hours of credit hours before they can participate in the work-based learning component, meaning that after the first few weeks of the class, they're then eligible to go to work and get paid while they learn. And was it earn and learn? Yeah, there we go. That's what we're doing. Oh, there we go. So, any questions or things of the sort?
Awesome. Thank you. You know how excited I am about this one. This has been a long time coming.
It has been a long time.
But I just want to commend you and your team for picking this up and not just taking off running. You guys took off at supersonic speed, kicking this program off. So first question is, when do we start?
Right. So we were a little ambitious in our we are planning to do a welding course actually on the Spring Lake campus and up to 10 students. And our content builder, Dr. Muhammad, he wanted to start like tomorrow.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that everything's aligned. We have the instructor in place. The site is ready, and but we want to make sure that your input is valuable. So the marketing and the things necessary to get those courses filled is our next step. But we do have a course prepared and built. We also have another course aligned. I think it's office administrative type of course. I can't remember exactly what the title of it is, but yes, we're hitting the ground running. We want to be a part of this growth, and we want the community of Spring Lake to know that we're here for you, and there's a place for you at FTCC.
Awesome.
Right.
Awesome, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere, you're still in the hot seat. We've got some red lights on.
Okay, cool.
The red lights mean the hot, that's the hot sign.
Oh, Lord.
Like Krispy Kreme,
All right.
I got my hot signs on.
We'll see. We'll see.
Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing this. I was a little concerned. I thought we had missed, orientation.
Oh, yeah,
We
yeah, no.
wanna be welders too. No, that was my main question, cause I saw that it said orientation.
Yes.
Was today at 6, and I was like, okay, go.
So that was me making a PowerPoint, and I'm terrible at making PowerPoint.
All
No.
right, I just wanted to say thank you and hope that we hadn't missed that.
No, ma'am, you have that.
And again, I want to make sure that you guys heard the fact that this is a paid program. They're paying you to train. They're paying employers to help train people or staff to come and work for you. So if they're paying you to help better your business. Yes.
Ma'am, I also brought hard copies of applications. So please don't hesitate. I have plenty of applications for employers and to include job seekers. Again, we want to hear from you. We don't want to know what the employers are looking for, as well as job seekers too. So I have plenty of hard copy applications back here.
I told you guys he hits the ground lightning speed. Take
Yeah.
advantage of every opportunity.
Absolutely.
But this is what we need in our community. You ask for jobs, we're bringing jobs, not just jobs, but training for better paying, higher quality jobs. So please take advantage of this free program that
Yes.
will pay you to learn,
Yeah.
pay you to get better trained staff. Again, thank you so very much. I appreciate this. This has been a long time coming, and it's something that we desperately need out here in Spring Lake. So spread the word about the Hope Project. Those trades are high dollar career fields now, where they're making 6 figures for these trades. So long gone are those days where you don't want to be a plumber anymore. I think I might take some classes.
Save some money.
Yeah, I think carpentry might be, I'll be in front of the Board of Adjustments because I feel
Don't take some. We got them for
Thank you so much.
You're very
Any other
welcome.
questions from the board?
Thank you. Oh, you're welcome.
Okay,
Now,
thank you.
I did, I'm sorry. I did bring some swag bags for the board members.
Oh.
So I don't know how
You
to
can just
share
bring
them.
them now.
Can I bring
Yeah,
them?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Don't make her walk
I
with
know, I'm like, I
her.
feel so bad. She's like, I feel so, thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
But thank you guys, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you again so much. We appreciate you. Huh? All the classes, locations for the classes?
Yeah, so
One more time.
locations to be here in Spring Lake, but of course we have classes at the main campus, but our focus is Spring Lake. We want all of our classes to be here locally. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the on the Spring Lake campus. It could be community based. So if there's a faith-based community that will look for has space and have classes that they'd like to have, GED, whatever those things may be, HRD classes, we can perform those in the community as well.
Awesome.
And again, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. As soon as I get through all of these papers, we're going to start our public hearings for zoning 23005, a rezoning from CP, planned commercial, and C3 heavy commercial to R5A/CV, residential conditional zoning district, to a more restrictive zoning district for 8.7 acres located east of North Main Street and west of Bragg Boulevard, submitted by Dominic Spencer on behalf of Mr. Lorenzo McLean, the owner. So I would like to, you're already in place.
Hey, I'm ready to go.
Well, let's go ahead and start. Please take it away.
Got it? Okay, my name is Chris Portman. I am one of the planners and current planning over in Cumberland County. As the mayor stated, Agent Dominic Spencer on behalf of Lorenzo McLean is requesting to go from C3 planned commercial and CP planned commercial and CP3 planned commercial as well to R5A CZ residential conditional zoning district for 8.7 acres. This property falls within the Main Street Overlay District. One of the key things in this overlay is to intend to protect to enhance the traditional downtown Main Street area by maintaining and stimulating pedestrian-friendly, vibrant environment while encouraging economic growth that complements and expands the unique character of the downtown area. In this overlay, it is a commercial and office, which is on the first floor of all mixed-use buildings. Here's some things that are surrounding the property. You have some commercial that varies from convenience store to restaurants to an appliance store to car dealerships to car wash. And you also have residential that surrounds the property as well. Some of the zonings that surround the property is the P&D, C3, R6, and O&I. There are no hydric or hydric inclusion soils on the property, and this does have a water and sewer line that would serve the apartment complex. This falls within the Spring Lake Land Use Plan Flex Area 2. Some key points from that is within the area should consider the use of zoning to ensure the new use in its harmony with the surrounding uses. The considerable size and desirable location of this area creates an excellent opportunity for the mixed-use development. Suitable in Flex Area 2 is the Central Business Zoning District, light commercial and multifamily housing. Some of the districts that are included in this plan are the MXD CD District, CB, C1, R5, and R5A. With them requesting R5A, this does make it compliant with the adopted land use plan. This is a full image of the proposed conditional zoning site plan. As you can see, the proposed complex, there are two buildings comprised of the complex and a clubhouse in the southern portion of the property. And the northern part is undeveloped. I believe it's up to the applicant to come back if they want to further phase this development. If they do, they would have to come back and modify this as conditional zoning district. This is the zoomed in portion of that bottom half. You can see the building on the left along Main Street, as well as one on the opposite side with the clubhouse. This is just an image of what the complex would look like. The first floor would be the mixed use, so it would house the office uses. I believe they are proposing also some residential on the first floor. That is up to the applicant to make that determination. This is the subject site or portion of it. Again, this is the subject property more to the northern end. This is looking down Main Street. Again, looking down Main Street. This is looking adjacent across the street from the subject property. And looking down Main Street again.
Oh.
Some of the key conditions, the condition sheet is in the staff report that is in your packet. They are limited to 72 multifamily units. Office and commercial uses allowed on the first floor for the building facing Main Street as allowed by the Main Street Overlay District. Through this conditional zoning district, residential uses is allowed on the first floor. They must follow the architectural evaluations provided in the conditional of approval and must follow conditional zoning site plan. Some of the deviations requested by the applicant, the Main Street Overlay District allows for multifamily development but requires commercial or office development on the first floor to promote mixed-use buildings along Main Street. Multifamily is a permitted use in the Overlay District, and the Spring Lake Land Use Plan promotes the downtown area for flex area, which includes multifamily. Through the conditional zoning, the applicant requests to place residential on the first floor of the building facing Main Street, but commercial and office uses remain as a permitted use as well on the first floor. If marketing conditions change, the property owner can change the use of the first floor from residential to office or commercial consistent with the Main Street Overlay District. Staff recommended approval of this, and then whenever this went to the planning board, it was recommended denial. If you have any questions, I can answer them, and I believe the applicant here is as well to speak on the project.
At this time, is there any questions from the board? Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you. Can you, tell us, what the reasoning for the denial? I believe, the vote was 7-1.
I believe the board found that it was not consistent with the intended use of the overlay, having not essentially retail and a grocery store or retail uses on that first floor as intended for overlay. I believe that was the main cause for the denial in that.
I agree. Again, our Main Street Overlay District has been very, very specific about the buildings and the usage of that particular area, which calls for flex use of any buildings, which means the bottom floor should be retail stores, your coffees, your eateries, retail on the bottom floor and residential up top. And that is a very small area that we've made specific rules and guidelines for. So I just want to make sure that we're clear on that. So if there are no more questions from the board, I now declare that this public hearing is open, and I would like to ask if there is anyone, thank you, Chris, who would like to speak in support of this case. Please approach the podium now. State your name and your address for the record.
Yeah, and may I interrupt?
Please.
Thank you. You said some of this is but
Good evening, Alderpersons Pete Schwigerot with Pivotal. We're at 9100 Center Point Drive in Westchester, Ohio. Just to give you a little bit of background on our company, we've been owning housing now for about 30 years, grown throughout about 16 states, and have developed, own, and manage around 10,000 units to date that we still own and manage. The very first one of these developments that's almost 30 years old now, we still own it, we still manage it. Just around 8 years ago, we put another $11 million of investment into that. So we do take long-term ownership and care of our properties. We have a property management team. The only part of the development process we don't do is the general contracting. And that is so that we can come in and find local contractors that know the subs in the market and bid it local and make sure local companies are used when the construction occurs. But we do own them long-term, and we do have property management and service techs that we would be hiring that would be here local to serve residents of your community and make sure that they have new, high-quality housing options. And really, I think that's what we hope you see is missing is high-quality housing options. We agree that the mixed-use area, the Main Street, our proximity to the Main Street, as I just drove Main Street, I looked at the opportunity there, and right now it may not have that energy, but it certainly can have that energy. And I think you're smart in having that vision. One of the biggest challenges though, and for what it's worth, COVID 3 or 4 years ago didn't help this, is really the retail and service industry and the transition that it's in and contracting in a lot of ways, whether it be because of online shopping or big boxes. It's a big balancing act. And so finding the right amount and mix in a community is a big challenge. And having these plans, master plans, makes a lot of sense. But what we're finding here is right now that demand for those first floor retail spaces really isn't there right now. We need to bring some rooftops to market, bring some new housing, bring that population density up in the area, and then we're going to be able to help what right now we hope would be some of the vacant commercial in the corridor start to have some life. Well, now there's another 72 units housing maybe as many as 100 plus people that can come live, work, shop in the area. I was really impressed to hear about the services and programming that are coming to the community. What is missing is new, high quality workforce housing options. Housing for folks out there making anywhere from 17 to 25, 27 bucks an hour. It's hard to find something of high quality and new and accessible. What we build is 100% accessible. It's built to green standards, high quality, 72 units. We're talking about 17 to 18 million in new investment in the community. People that can walk to downtown, walk to the other service corridors. We do want to honor the Main Street area, and I've done this before. We've actually developed near other bases in Wright-Patt Air Force Base in Dayton. We did some base housing there. We've done housing in Shinto, Illinois, where they actually decommissioned a base there. And what just started as 60 units of housing is now grown into almost 100 million in investment around that. So we're hopeful we can have some impact and certainly bring some rooftops and nice quality rooftops to market to serve your workforce and to make sure people working around the base and in your community have those housing options here as well. So we're excited about that opportunity. Really, the only difference we're looking for is to do something on the first floor residentially. And we have committed, we're gonna honor that Main Street look. We're gonna push the building up on the road. We're gonna have that first floor, storefronts the whole way across. You know, with the fact that that has a minor tint on it, you're not gonna know whether it's a residential unit or on-site management office or our community room or our fitness center or our business center, which are all strategically designed into that first floor so that we can create that feel. Pushing it up there, we'll have the sidewalk out there along Main Street. Whether we do on-street parking is really something we look at a later stage with your team to say, is that right for that area or not? But we want to be creative, we want to be flexible, we want to create something right and nice, and that can help further investment in the area. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you have and appreciate your time and consideration tonight.
We'll take comments after the hearing. Go ahead, you got some questions.
So you said you're gonna put the, like the community center, was it?
Yeah.
So what percentage of that would be on that main floor?
On the front side of the building, probably around half of it.
About 50%?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you say, commercial space, but there will be no retail.
Right. Yeah,
So
well, the
when you're
commercial
saying
space is our community space being given a treatment to feel commercial in nature.
Feel commercial in nature, but no retail.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this request?
Yes, ma'am.
Please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Richard Fox. I'm a local attorney and a local commercial broker. I work with Grant Murray Real Estate. I also represent the landowner here, Mr. McLean. As an attorney, I know and understand that boards such as these serve as a quasi-legislative function. And what that means is this board, when making its decisions, has a duty to act according to and to promote the health, safety, general welfare, and prosperity of the local community. As a broker, I understand that land is brokered and sold according to its highest and best use, and to derive maximum value for the land and for the client. Now, I've lived in Cumberland County for 45 years. And unless I'm missing something, I have not seen one single solid retail commercial development comparable in size and promise to this proposed multifamily development to the downtown area in all of those years. To the members of this board, respectfully, the highest and best use for the subject property at this moment, today, is not retail commercial use, if it ever was. At this time, it would be, in our opinion, short-sighted to hold out for a meaningful future retail commercial development at that particular spot. Retail is important. Everybody knows that. But you got it. This is a stepping stone to get there. On the other hand, the proposed multifamily development opportunity before the board and town this evening is real and it's meaningful. It will provide much needed quality housing and additional tax revenue. It'll also, and here's is important, it'll also increase traffic, it'll increase and improve aesthetics, both of which are key, fundamental to the success and growth of any downtown area, which I believe is the aim of this board. By granting my clients a rezoning application today, you will be acting in accordance with, you will in fact be promoting the general welfare and prosperity of this community. For those reasons, we respectfully request that this board grant this rezoning application. Thank you for your time and your attention.
Thank you so much. Is there anyone else to speak in support? Please approach the podium stating your name and your address for the record.
Good afternoon. My name is Lorenzo McLean. My family owns this piece of property. We've lived here. My great-great-grandfather on my father's side purchased this 10-acre tract way back when. It's been in the family since then. A lot of us, the elders, have moved away or gone on to glory, and I just think it's time that we do something. And what I was concerned with, I wanted to be a part of something that helps make the town better. But I don't want to play games, and this silliness to me, what seems silly to me, because these guys work hard, and I think they have a dynamic proposal that will work. And I've looked up Main Street. I moved here in 1953. I've seen the glory days, and I see 2 days. And it was interesting. I was studying the web page today for Spring Lake, and I noticed 2 things that stuck out to me, and those were the population. I believe it said that the town had, in the 2010 census, recorded 11,964 individuals. By 2019, the estimate was 12,005. That's an increase of just 40 people. Something is wrong, okay? By 2021, the estimate was that there were 11,614 people living here. Either way, those numbers are down. The great gift of Spring Lake is its proximity to Fort Bragg. Now, I don't live here anymore. I live in Maryland, but I come here often to visit my family. And when we talk about Spring Lake, a town of which I am immensely proud of, I look and I see things, and I go online when I'm in Maryland, and even when I type in Spring Lake, they don't talk about up here. They're talking about up Harnett County. And that's okay. I don't care what they call it. But if we're to revitalize this place, we've got to rethink things. Because one of the things, not only in Spring Lake, is that the way we live in all communities is changing. A lot of it's due to things like COVID, other economic factors. But I honestly feel like that you have to, in order to drive up demand for these these commercial entities, you've got to increase the demand side, which is people. This project envisioned up to 72 taxpaying families live here. That would be a big help. It would help bring in some much needed revenue. It would increase foot traffic and just make life generally better. So I plead with you that you do approve this request, and I thank you for your help.
Thank you so much, sir. Is there anyone else to speak in favor of this case? Again, I ask, is there anyone else to speak in favor of this case? Last time, is there anyone to speak in favor of this case? If not, I open it up for anyone who wants to speak in opposition of this case. Again, is there anyone who'd like to speak in opposition of this case? One last time.
I have a question, if I may.
Please approach the podium.
The Spring Lake overlay, as you stated, with the businesses. I can't recall when, but when I served on the board, we served at the Spring Lake Overlay. And reason being, talking about the infrastructure, we put $75,000 of taxpayer dollars into the infrastructure. And I don't know if they've taken that in consideration when it went before the planning board. But I just feel like it needs to be studied a little bit more. I do agree that Spring Lake needs to continue to grow. That means our police department needs to grow as well if we got more residents coming into the town. But the Spring Lake overlay was put in existence for a reason. So I would ask the board members to make sure you do your due diligence to understand the reason why the Spring Lake overlay was put in place when I served on this board. So please do your due diligence. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Again, is there anyone else to speak in opposition of this case? Last time, is there anyone else to speak in opposition of this case?
Mayor.
Please approach the podium.
May I question a possible developer here?
At the podium.
Are you aware of what the rentals will be for said units?
Are they affordable?
No problem. Yeah, mix of 1s, 2s, and 3-bedroom units. We have ordered a market study. The market study certainly shows the strong demand, certainly otherwise we wouldn't be here. And rent ranges, you know, we're speaking of something that's gonna be built in complete 18 plus months from now, so bear with me, but we're expecting that 1s will be anywhere from probably 800, 850, 900. 2s can be probably anywhere from 850 to 1,000, maybe a little more, and 3s are probably anywhere from 950 to 1,100. Maybe a little higher than that, depending on, we've got a variety of unit types and options we'll make available.
Will this be like a mixed income housing unit, being Section 8?
No, so we do not have any Section 8 involvement. We do not have a project-based Section 8 contract. There's no HUD involvement. We are using funding through the state, but as far as HUD or Section 8 or rent subsidy, we have no rent subsidy to offer residents. Residents have to qualify to make enough to pay the rent.
Is the condition upon, and you don't have to answer me if you don't want to, is the condition for the funds from the state the reason aren't willing to put retail downstairs?
No, it's just marketability. I mean, it's two things. Number one, having users. Building empty B space in today's world is super expensive, and there's just not a retail use for it. The demand is out on the primary corridor. You will find mom and pop shops over time, I think, as the population can be grown, and that's the goal here, is that we don't have a user. We are unaware of a user, therefore we can't build that space. And to be honest, we think it would work adversely against your other vacant buildings downtown that ultimately are trying to lease space, and here we are putting in a brand new space, and how are they gonna compete? How are they gonna, you know, from that standpoint, it's just bringing more retail space onto the market.
Have you built any of these in North Carolina?
Yeah, we have developments throughout North Carolina.
Apex, Raleigh,
Apex?
any of those
Yes,
areas?
yes.
This looks very familiar to me to what is currently occurring in Apex, and the reason I ask is because there was one of these in a little town called Holly Springs, in which my husband and I have just recently done 2 upfits. One of them is a Thai restaurant called BEP. So the reason that I'm asking this is we do not have a lot of available spaces for chains to go under here. It's actually one of Spring Lake's heavy downfalls. This 8.7 acres that you're looking at, I myself was also looking at purchasing. Instead, there was just a purchase made.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm listening. I just
Oh,
wanted to give
no,
you
no
the
worries
mic
at all.
at the same time. This is a little.
No, I guess the short version of a long story, I'm not great at public speaking, sorry, is why you would not take this opportunity to do, I mean, even if you only did 40% of the bottom.
We are really good at housing people, providing a high quality unit, having management services and programming for residents, for families. We're not a retailer. From time to time, we might have retail. I can take you to 10 times where we built developments and because of similar situations, forced a little retail space in there that's still vacant for 10 years. It's happened. I can tell you a dozen times where we've ran into these scenarios where mixed use, because it's a very trendy thing. I come from an urban planning world. I love mixed use. We used to get real excited about it, and I am excited about it. But there's a balancing act in reality and economics. If you go out into your commercial corridor, there are plenty of E spaces and retail spaces that are available. Whether you're looking out on the main corridor, where the big boxes are and the usual outlots and restaurants, or whether you look into the downtown Main Street you're trying to create. These rooftops will help it. I mentioned Fort Bend Base in Indianapolis, it's in Lawrence. First phase we built was 50 units of senior housing. Very similar building to this. Since then, there's $100 million worth of new investment right around there. So it can be a generator. Seeing construction underway spawns more activity. This site, there's other sites right in this corridor been available for some time. And so we just think this is the right use and can help encourage some of the other things you're wanting to get done in your community.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you both. Is there anyone else to speak in opposition of this case? Is there anyone else who wants to speak in opposition of this case? Last time? Is there anyone else who wants to speak in opposition of this case? If there are none, I now declare this public hearing to be closed. Is there any questions or comments from the board? Alderwoman Thompson?
I just want to say, I'm all for, building, making, Spring Lake growing and what have you. But my question, a comment I have is that you're saying that it's supposed to be affordable housing, but those prices that you gave are kind of low, especially we have areas here now that we have 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms that you're paying way more for that. And you're saying a 3-bedroom is only going to be $950 or $1,000. You said it may. I don't know if you're saying it may be higher, but I just find it, a little hard to believe that you're coming in here having flats and they're going to be that affordable, because we do need affordable housing in Spring Lake, but at the same time, these are brand new building, and those prices that you gave were kind of low, and I was just wondering about that.
No, the public hearing's closed.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought she was asking.
No, I'm just making a comment. I'm just opening the question, just something to think about.
Alderman Lackman?
Mayor, thank you. And thank you for the comments. And as far as doing our fiduciary responsibility, looking into this, I personally have looked and delved into this. I'm not an attorney, but we've got one on staff that we can consult. Spring Lake has worked hard on trying to utilize our land use plan, trying to develop our town so that we can build the new Spring Lake way, so that we can make things better. And while this project appears to be good isn't good enough for me. And so with this, we need something that's going to draw people in here. We've got housing developments that are going up there. So we've got housing that's being built in Spring Lake, and what we need to do is do this balancing act and be able to bring in these retail, bring in these commercials. And based on what I heard from you tonight, this just doesn't do it for me. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Lackman. Alderwoman Cooper?
Thank you, Mayor. So just a couple of quick points. I do appreciate you all wanting to come here and develop, bring that development, but we spent several months working on our land use plan with the county. We invited people from the community to several different events so that they could weigh in and tell what they needed and what looks good. And so this is what we came up with, this plan that was adopted between us and the county. And the other thing I wanted to talk about was the census. I know our numbers look lower, and several people, I worked with several people in the community to help get those numbers up during COVID. And so this is one of the most undercounted censuses in this country's history.
because number one, they thought, I worked with NC Counts. They thought that they were gonna have more time to get the count, plus people didn't want to, respond, answer the door, things like that, because of the situation we are in. So it's not necessarily the correct count that you see, from the 2020 census. But I do appreciate this, but we put a lot of work into our plan, and so I feel like we need to follow that guide that we put forth.
Thank you, Alderwoman Cooper. Is there any more discussion, questions, comments from the board? I will now entertain a motion to approve, zoning case, as soon as I find it again. Zoning case 2305 rezoning from, excuse me? Yeah, that's one. Oh, I forgot we moved them, public hearing. Scratch that, we do our motion after we do all the hearings. I forgot how we switched it, guys. Okay, we will now move on to, before we entertain that motion, to agenda item 8B, zoning 230007, rezoning from O&I office and institutional district to R6 residential district, or to a more restrictive zoning district for .24 plus or minus acres located at 125 Elizabeth Street, submitted by Relisha Kane. Chris, take it away.
Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
Applicant Roshina Kane is requesting to go from O&I planned office and institutional to R6 residential. Her intention is to put a residential home on that lot. Currently, under O&I, you cannot do a residential dwelling on that property. The acreage is 0.24 acres. As you can see, there is some single-family residential surrounding the property. There's an institutional, and there's also some commercial, which I believe is a funeral home. Some of the surrounding zonings are R6A, P&D, R6, O&I, and C3. There are no hydric or hydric inclusion soils. There is a water and sewer line that will be servicing that lot. This also falls under the Spring Lake Land Use Plan, high density residential. A key point from that is the small parcel areas are well suited for redevelopment and infill by allowing maximum density in these areas. Small multifamily development, especially vertical development, is enabled. Associated districts in this is R5. This does make this land use compliant. This is the subject property. This is the east view looking down Elizabeth Street. This is the north view looking directly across. This is the west view down Elizabeth Street. Both planning board and staff recommended approval of this request. And that concludes my presentation.
Any questions from the board? All right, thank you, Chris, again. We will now, I'm sorry, were there any questions from the board? No. Okay. All right, I now declare this public hearing open for case number ZON 230007, rezoning from O&I office institutional district to R6 residential district to a more restrictive zoning district for .24 plus or minus acres located at 125 Elizabeth Street, submitted by Relisha Kane. Is there now anyone to speak in support of this case? Please approach the podium and state your name and address for the record. It's a pretty dress.
Hi, my name is Relisha Kane, and I am for it. I purchased the land 2 years ago, and due to COVID and everything, and I had an engineer as well as a survey company to go out. When they went out, they stated to me, the engineer, because of the laws, Spring Lake and Cumberland County, you gotta have to have a drive around in order for that to be a OI. That lot is so tiny, you will never be able to have a drive around that lot. So I won't lose my investment. I was gonna put a house, and I contacted Red Roof to make sure the soil and everything was capable for me to put a house, to build a house on that lot. And when they went out there, they said everything is to go. I'm approved by the bank, if you all approve.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is there anyone else to speak in support of this request? Again, is there anyone else to speak in support of this request? Last time. Is there anyone to speak in support of this request? If there are none, I ask if there is anyone to speak in opposition to this request, please. Approach the podium, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Floyd Graham. I'm the home and operator of the funeral home up there. And when they put the Mason lodge behind the building there, they put the parking lot there, and they did not put a drain off park there, so they put the land up for runoff property. You go over there, they don't put 10 loads of dirt in there. There's a line that goes right down to where the city put a drain pipe into the property there, and it's a very big tank they put there. And the state law said that I got to get a refrigerator now, so I'm going to be putting a crematory and a refrigerator up there where my cars are parked at, and I'm going to put a closed-in thing there. So, and since 2009, we've been having problems with that property running off and draining and all kinds of stuff. It's been ever since when Miss Clark and was here. We've been going through problems with this property, and we're trying to get it done, so we're gonna do it right. So we can kind of stay there, cause they don't want the funeral home there. I guess I have to sell it again. But you know, this has been a going thing for over and over and over, and it took me 10 years to find the property up there, O&I property. Every time I come to Tom and Spink and Paul Hoover, they tell me, when I find some property, they said I couldn't use it. So when I finally found this up here, and then I come up here, I had to come back into the office. When I looked at the property, it was what I needed. So I purchased it. And after then, they came in, Jack Manoy, he was on the board here, and he the one put the Mason lodge there. And the whole thing, and when they put the fence on the property, the fence is on my property, they bought my property. It's been a drawn out thing all ever since. And I bought the property in '99. I put the funeral home there in 2000. And ever since 2000, I've been trying to hold back, because old Gabriel was telling me, well, we're gonna get this done, and never got it done. And for the last 20-some years that I've been up, we've been having problems with that piece of property. The lady, they keep moving the property lines. The property line, they move it here, they move it here. But I got the deed for the property, you can put the land where you want to, but you ain't gonna change the deed. So, but the property is not that, my property goes over into that property. And they said that something, they have to stay so many feet off the property line. But when I went down to the inspection thing down here, she said she didn't know. When I went down to the inspection thing, and the lady told me that she didn't know. So in the next couple of weeks, I will be coming back up here to figure out what would I be putting there. Cause when I was on the stormwater committee here in Spring Lake with Jack Manoy, with Banya, they said you couldn't tie into stormwater. But they put that building right there, they tied it in the storm water. They put a thing over there so that could run into the storm water. But they tell me you couldn't. When I was on the committee, they said you couldn't do it. So now I'm trying to figure out now how they're gonna come back here and do something they said before that you couldn't do. They couldn't do it before, now they can do it, now they tell me you can do it. And y'all want to know the history of Spring Lake, all that over on Elizabeth Street, there used to be military barracks there. When I was a fireman out here for 8.5 years. We burned all of them military bases down over here. We burned behind the funeral home over there was military bases, barracks. When they remodeled them and put houses and stuff over here where they put the houses in, that was the lake. we would go fishing over there, so they drain that thing over there so they can put the houses over there. That's some history of Springfield.
May I ask for clarification as to why you're in opposition? And if you could you speak directly on the mic? Our attorney's having a bit of a issue hearing you.
Why? Oh, the fire department. Yeah, what you want? Because
I'm not the attorney. He's
on Zoom.
So yeah, and then I heard this about the fire. I heard y'all say something about the fire hydrant. There's no water. There's not that much water pressure on it. And when they built the condominiums over there, one of them caught a fire. We didn't have no water to put it out. We had to put up porta ponds to put the fire out. So and then the reason. But the state told us that all funeral homes now we're gonna have to have a refrigerator. So I'm getting ready to put a refrigerator and probably a crematory down there. Wiseman just put in one, Cunningham just put in one, Cobra got one, everybody got one. So I'm getting ready to put me one.
Yeah, but why are you in opposition of this development? I understand that you're expanding your business. Is the property?
But every time it rains, the water from that parking lot is flooding up my cars. I keep putting mufflers, I keep putting brake lines, I keep putting stuff cause the water running over here to flood out. And there's nobody never fixed it because they don't have a pond for, knows when they built the Circle K, it's got a big old pond down there where all the water running to. You go over and look at that, they don't have one. Because they signed that property over for runoff land. She signed it off so the water could run off that parking lot over to there. I got pictures of where it flooded. Me and Jack Menard out here trying to unplug it so we can stop it up. There's no way for the water to run but there.
Okay.
So if you go building that up, that means you're gonna have to build the whole road up. You're gonna have to build up everything down there. It's gonna have to be built up in order to make whatever you're gonna make work. Cause there's nothing there but a ditch. The water runs all the way from Pastor Troy Church all the way down through there. All the water from Main Street runs there. All the water from here runs there. Everything that runs to that pond to run down to the river down there to go out to Southern Pine.
Well, thank you so much. All right. Is there anyone else to speak in opposition of this request? Is there anyone else to speak in opposition of this request? Last time, if there's anyone to speak in opposition of this request. Hearing none, I declare that this public hearing is now closed. I will not entertain questions or comments from the board. If there are none, we will now, oh, wait a minute, Alderman Palacios.
Hey, Chris, can you provide clarification on the drive around?
So when she came into our office before, she wanted to put a church on that lot. And I believe whenever she was talking with the engineer or surveyor who was drawing that property, drawing up the site plan for her, they told her that she needed to, I guess, do a driveway that wrapped around the entirety of the church. And due to that lot size, it just wasn't feasible for that.
Thank you.
Alderman Todd?
So is it a church going there or a home?
Home.
But you said initially she said she was going to do a church. I'm sorry. We're just trying to get.
Originally, she came in to do a church. Churches are allowed in districts like that, but she couldn't do the church. She wanted to just put a home there. And with it being O&I, you can't put a residential dwelling in that zoning district, so she has to rezone it to that density. And with her lot size, that's a density that's feasible for that area.
Okay, gotcha.
Any other questions or comments from the board? No? Okay. Well, we will move on to our next ordinance, agenda item 8C. And this is our ordinance 2023-1, Chapter 16, Environment, Article 5, Donation Boxes. Alderwoman Cooper. Why forgive me on that?
This is you. Okay. I'll just, I don't know, let me say that. This is, so that we can, regulate the donation boxes that pop up, without any, without any information and no, contact information, and they are, the cause of quite a bit of blight in the community. People, drop off dead, it's only supposed to be for clothes and beds.
Jason, the agenda.
No, that's an agenda.
And so, we are just, we had asked staff to put something together, and so that is what we will be voting on today. Are we doing a public hearing?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, so maybe you can open that.
Now, my gosh, there's so many papers up here, it's easy to get lost. I will now open the public hearings for ordinance 2023-1, chapter 16, environment, article 5, donation box. Is there anyone to speak in favor of this request? Is there anyone to speak in favor of this request? Again, is there anyone to speak in favor of this request? Hearing none, we will move on. Is there anyone to speak in opposition of this request? Again, is there anyone to speak in opposition of this request? Last time, anyone to speak in opposition of this request? If there are none, I now declare this public hearing closed and entertain questions or comments from the board. If there are none, Alderman Lackman, I was ready.
Mayor,
Yes.
thank you very much. I've heard from a number of residents that a lot of them had mixed emotions in regards to the donations box. Some of them said they want them completely gone, that they're tired of seeing Spring Lake look like trash. They want to get rid of these. There are a number of organizations in town that do, there are thrift stores, there are places around here that do utilize this. We did let these folks know that instead of just doing an all or nothing, that we are looking at taking these donation boxes and try to make the ones that have them out there more accountable, the land use owners more accountable in regards to this. And they said that's a good start, but they said that if that doesn't work, that they want this to come back and that they want those donation boxes gone. So there are a number of residents that are just tired of it. And so at this point, I'm speaking on behalf of those residents that have contacted me. They wanted me to speak for them. They didn't want to get up here and speak for themselves. So for that, for the residents, I am speaking for you tonight and letting you know that your voices have been said tonight.
Thank you so much for that, Alderman. Alderman Cooper?
Thank you, Mayor. I do want to say that when we brought this to the staff, there was a precedent that you couldn't actually remove them completely. There were some laws in place that would keep you from being able to remove them completely. So that is why I suggested that we go with having them being permitted yearly and with certain requirements. So I just wanted to let you know that was looked into.
Is there any other questions or comments from the board? Okay, we will move on to agenda item 8D, ordinance 2023-2, chapter 34, streets, sidewalks, and other public places and driveways. Article 7, parking, maintaining, repairing commercial or industrial vehicles and equipment on private streets. Public or private streets. I'm gonna get to that. All right, this public hearing is for, again, chapter 34, streets or sidewalk, public places, and other public places and driveways for parking, maintaining, repairing commercial or industrial vehicles on public or private streets. I would like to now open this public hearing and ask for anyone who has to or who wants to speak in support of this ordinance to please approach the podium. Is there anyone to speak in support? of this ordinance? Again, is there anyone to speak in support of this ordinance? Hearing none, I will call for anyone who wants to speak in opposition of this ordinance. Mr. Watkins, is your hand up?
Yeah, I put in for a comment thing today.
I'm sorry, for public comments or for the public hearing?
Public comment.
That portion of the agenda is already closed.
Okay.
So is there anyone to speak in opposition of this ordinance? Last time, is there anyone to speak in opposition of this ordinance? If there are none, I now declare this public hearing to be closed, and is there any questions or comments from the board? Nope, hearing none?
So like,
Oh, I thought he was going for his life. Sorry, he doesn't like he's going for his life.
Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you. I did, Ms. Sutherland did, point something out, and I just wanted to clarify, it is for repairing or maintaining commercial vehicles, like 18-wheeler cabs and things like that. So this ordinance is in reference to commercial vehicles, being parked in the driveways and parked on the streets, because, residential streets can't handle that type of heavy load. So I do wanna make that clarification. Thank you.
Mr. Williams.
First time ever. My life.
Hey.
And to tag on to what she was saying, if it's on your property, it's fine. We're not gonna mess with you on your property. I think that's where the confusion is.
Yeah.
It's not, it says private property, but
Right.
it's actually private streets, which is still our streets. But what we don't want you to do is to have tractor trailers parked on any of the regular streets. It's hard for us to get up, especially if it's fire, police, or whatever, hard to get by. And we don't want you to have it parked on your property that blocks the sidewalk. There's where you have problems if somebody comes down with a wheelchair or whatever. That's all we're trying to do, is just clean up how it is. Like I said, if you have a tractor trailer, you park it on your road, in your driveway that fits, happy for you. But we gotta make sure it does not fit on the road or the walkway. That's what I was saying.
All right. Well, are there any other questions or comments? Did your light come on?
It did, but Mr. Williams clarified what that was in regards to, was the private streets versus residence parking. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I thought I was seeing, phantom lights.
No, it's all right.
That's what I thought you was gonna do, that's why I said that.
All right, if there are no more questions or comments from the board, we will move on to new business. I'll now entertain a motion for zoning 230005, rezoning from CP Plan Commercial and C3 Heavy Commercial to R5A CZ Residential Conditional Zoning District to a more restrictive zoning district for 8.70 plus or minus acres, located east of North Main Street and west of Bragg Boulevard, submitted by Dominic Spencer, on behalf of Mr. Lorenzo McLean. I'll now entertain a motion for approval or denial. Board? Alderman Palacios.
Make a motion for denial.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Any discussion? Alderman Palacios.
The time will come where we do entertain these changes. However, the board and the town, the citizens all had a lot of input into the new land use plan that we have. And we're on the heels of that decision. And it's because of that it's a little fresh right now. Within the last year, this board approved the citizens' input on any future land use for our town. And on the heels of that, I won't be in favor of making this change to this property at this time. But the time will come where, honestly, transparency, for transparency's sake, the time will come where either this board or a new board decides to make these changes. But for me, at this time, it's not today.
Thank you, Alderman Palacios. Any other discussion? And I'd like to echo those sentiments. Again, the community weighed in heavily over several months. We actually had record amount of input on what's going to happen with our community. And thanks to Cumberland County Planning, they put in diligent work to make sure that we are not just planning for right now, that we are planning for the longevity of Spring Lake. We will not make decisions based on short-term opportunities, but we plan on this town existing forever, and we're going to make our decisions based on long-range goals and not short-sight opportunities. So I do support the decision to deny this. We appreciate you, and hopefully you can find other plots to bring potential houses to, rooftops to, but at this time, I just don't believe that this is the direction we should move in. I will now entertain a motion. Oh, I'm sorry, I did a, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion to deny is approved. Thank you so much for coming. We will now move on to zoning 230007, rezoning from ONI office and institutional district to R6 residential district, or to a more restrictive zoning district, 4.24 plus or minus acres, located at 125 Elizabeth Street, submitted by Relisha Kane. I will now entertain a motion to approve or deny. Alderwoman Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to approve case 23-007 as it stated.
Is there a second? Mayor Pro Tem?
I second.
Any discussion? Alderman Lockman?
Mayor, this may not be the right time, but for me at this point, based upon what I've heard from Mr. Floyd in regards to the flooding and all that, I think this would be a disaster to build a house on there, to have such municipal water come running off in there, and to be a part of that, to know that this was to happen, I can't support that today based upon that. So that's my sentiments.
Thank you so much. Alderwoman Cooper, followed by Alderman Palacios.
So you brought that, and when you bring that up, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, could we ask Cumberland County Planning if there was any, did you all find any incident where that would be an issue? Isn't that part of your study of the property?
Regarding soils?
Yeah.
That would be up to the property owner. We wouldn't be the ones to determine that. Even if there was flooding and everything like that, that'd be through our floodplain engineers and stuff like that. Staff would look at that. I mean, if this was approved for residential, then she would just go get permits to put on home there. It wouldn't come to our office.
Okay. Yes, you can address that.
I did, because when I first went to the property, Mr. Floyd came over to talk to me, to inform me. And so I had someone to look in it, and that's why I had an engineer. After I had my surveyor and my engineer look in it, I also had red roof, because I didn't want to do a bad investment. I agree with you 100%. And I asked Red Roof, if I can't do this, because I'm already approved, I can go anywhere, even though I own this lot. They said, we can do it. And I have paperwork to prove that they can do it, and they gave me the amount. They said I would have no problems. This per Red Roof. And the builder, the construction, he went out and did the land.
I just needed you to answer the one question.
I'm sorry.
Just for clarification, because the public hearing is closed.
Yes,
So.
Oh, sorry.
Alderman Palacios.
Thank you, Mayor. So I'm going to stick with the same sentiments I just shared for the previous case. The fact that we had public input on how to move forward with our land, and this was for office and industry.
No, it's approved. It is actually in compliance with our land. Yes, it does.
With the new land?
Yes. And it was a unanimous approval from
Was it? I don't think it
County
was
and-
unanimous.
Yeah.
So, whenever it went to staff, yes, but when it went to the planning board, I believe, was it was 4 to 3, I think.
It was 4 to 3 because the area was high.
Yeah, so the plan calls for high density residential for multifamily and stuff like that, but with the lot being this size, R5A, R5, R6. I would say R6 is compliant with it, but with that lot size, it's not really compatible for multifamily. So just a single family home would work on that lot in that district.
Thank you.
I don't know if y'all have time to talk. Yeah, we're just in discussion. So if you got any more discussion, please.
Yeah, we can go ahead.
Am I waiting for you to find something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. All in favor? Or is there any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
Nay.
That is 3-2. The motion carries to approve. Yeah. Not ordinance. Zoning case, 23-2020, 23-0007. Thank you. Now I'll entertain a motion for ordinance 2023-1, chapter 16, environment, article 5, donation boxes. Alderwoman Cooper.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Lots of seconds.
Mayor Pro Tem. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. We are now on Okay, ordinance 2023-2, chapter 34, streets, sidewalks, and other public places and driveways. Article 7, parking, maintaining, repairing commercial or industrial vehicles and equipment on private or public streets. A motion to approve or deny. Alderwoman Cooper.
So moved.
Is there a second? Alderwoman Thompson.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Awesome. We are now on to agenda item 9E. Mayor's report. Yay! I don't have a whole lot. Happy birthday, Spring Lake. My announcement for today is there's cake. There's cake for our birthday. So I was super excited to share that we have cake. Please take a big hunky piece. We don't care if you're gym folks. You came to a birthday party and you shall have cake. Okay?
That's right.
That's mandatory. I'll bang my gavel for cake. I think that was all I have for mayor's updates. That was really quick and easy. Mayor Pro Tem?
I just want to reiterate the, Mr.
So sorry. One more thing. Pinwheels. That's what I was supposed to talk about. We had a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pinwheel planting in support of child abuse awareness. And we had our police and fire department present, our town manager, our clerk, several staff members, several community members came out and they planted all those beautiful little silver and blue pinwheels. So we ask that you acknowledge and support the Child Advocacy Center if you have time to volunteer. It is such an important cause to be there for children who have been victims of abuse. Our police department volunteers with them very much heavily, and they were acknowledged for the work that they've been putting in throughout the year. So I want to thank you, Chief Spellman, for your leadership in making sure that we stay involved in such a amazing, amazing cause. And so this is Spring Lake's first pinwheel planting. So we were super excited to be able to do that this year, and we do plan on continuing to do this every year in support of child abuse prevention. So that is all I have. Sorry about that, Mayor Pro Tem. Didn't mean to cut you off.
I just wanted to reiterate the Mayor's Cup by our very own Spring Lake Nathaniel Finch.
Girl. One more time? May 5th. Thank you.
Thank you. And I just want to spread the word. May 6th, thank you. I just want to spread the word and put that out there. He is a great resident of Spring Lake that does many things for the community, so we definitely want to support him. So I just want to put a reminder for the Mayor's Cup. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Palacios?
Thank you, Mayor. We have our Spring Lake Earth Day cleanup on April 22nd. That's coming up soon, and we'll be meeting here at the rec center, and that will again be April 22nd. You can drop off bulk items, tires, medicine, those kind of things as well. But we'll be meeting here at 9 a.m. to coordinate town cleanup. Also, we have our RFP for wall art mural here in town, downtown area, and that ended today, but we are going to be accepting any RFPs that are lingering still out there until Wednesday when the appearance committee meets. We have 2 artists that have submitted a total of 5 art pieces for the committee to consider. So we are mirroring, just for clarification, we are mirroring the way that the city of Sanford does their public art. So that's why it's going to the appearance committee and be moving forward from there. Keep you updated.
That's so huge, guys. We're going to have public art. That's phenomenal. Alderwoman Thompson.
The only thing I have is, we have our torch run for the Special Olympics on the 29th of April. And if it rains, it's our rain out date is going to be on the 6th of May. But it will be up here at Veterans Park. 8:15 is registration. The run starts at 9. And you can run or walk. And t-shirts are available. Do Detective Utley if anybody wants to purchase one. That's all I have.
T-shirts are available. I'm ready. I came prepared today for my t-shirt.
That's my 20.
Whose hand is it in? Alderman Blackman.
Thank you, Mayor. Hey, for the residents out there, it's rose growing season. So Bernard, can you come up here?
Hey.
I'm sorry. Can you go take these roses and place those over by the birthday cake? These roses are for the town of Spring Lake. Lieutenant back there, if anybody takes these roses, you got it covered. But
anyway.
But so today we wanted to share some roses with the town of Spring Lake for the birthday. So I'll keep it as short tonight, man.
There's cake, guys.
Thank you, Bernard.
Yes. Did you mention your phone up?
No.
You're not going to? Okay. So, May 6th, Marvel Community Heartbeats, which is a few of the District 12 judges, myself, a businesswoman, Marva Lucas Moore, and Denise Langdon. We all got together and we started again doing our outreach to the community. So we will be having another food distribution on, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention a teacher, Kathy Bone Brown. We will have another food distribution on May 6th in Southwest Plaza, and it'll start at 9 until. So there's a lot going on the 6th. Yeah.
Mr. Williams?
No.
Mr. Porter? Mute.
Did you mute him?
You're muted.
No, we're not muting on us.
Oh. Yeah. Hey, Carly.
Love shirt.
By the look of it, he has that same look of, nope, I got nothing.
Was that if that was a I got nothing, give me a thumbs up. Okay, we got it.
He always has that same look.
He's in Hawaii.
We have no idea what he's saying.
He's in Hawaii.
You look cool, Michael. Okay, I will now entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318A6 personnel and NCGS 143-31811A3 attorney-client privileges. Mayor Pro Tem.
I make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A3 attorney-client privilege and pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11A6 personnel.
Alderman Cooper?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No one's gonna oppose because there's cake. Me? No. Go into close. Happy birthday. And I think Alderman Lackman's gonna lead us in happy birthday. On your mark and say go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Spring Lake. Happy birthday to you. And many more.
Make them do the solo.
Again, please join us for cake and drinks as we continue to do the work of the town. Thank you all so much for coming out. I did want to make sure we acknowledge Mayor Dobbins, who was here tonight. I believe he stepped out, but the Honorable Mayor Dobbins was here tonight, so I just wanted to make sure we paid honor to him as well. Thank you all. Go to the cake. No, Bernard, block the doors.
Oh, we taking cake back?
Any opposed? I'll now entertain a motion for adjournment. Alderwoman, Mayor. I'll make a motion to adjourn. Alderman Palacios.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned.